Welcome to Chargers Outside Zone. I'm Thomas.
And I'm Chuck, and today we're going to go over Thomas's mock draft 1.2. I think you did a mock draft 1.0 prior to the
Saints trade with the Eagles.
That mixed up the first round a good bit.
And made the Saints go in front of us.
Right. So definitely changed it up there. Also, you did a mock earlier in the week, and wanted to revisit it after watching some videos on wide receivers, right?
Yes, because I didn't feel comfortable with where I had wide receivers.
All right, so we're going to get into mock draft 1.2, but before we do that, just a quick reminder, this is a hobby. We are not experts, and we will do our best to stay away from hot takes. The quick look at where we left off our launch episode, and the Chargers have pick 17 in the first round. They spent that second round pick on Khalil Mack,
which was a great trade.
And then so they're not back on the clock until round 3, pick 79. But today's focus is going to be that first round, and why we're doing a first round 32 team or 32 pick mock draft is
everyone's doing it.
Everyone's doing it, so we might as well too.
So might as well.
And the other reason is to see who comes off the board before the Chargers pick at that number 17.
Yes.
And so
basically, call this episode Outside Zone Draft.
Yeah, little focus on the overall draft itself
as a whole.
But as we get to that pick 17, once again, are the Chargers looking at right tackle, defensive line, edge 3, linebacker, right guard, cornerback, tight end, safety, wide receiver, and running back? In those, generally in those in that priority, potentially.
Yes.
And
also tight ends don't seem like first round gradable.
Right. No Kyle Pitts this year, right?
No Kyle Pitts.
All right. So with that, let's go ahead and get into your mock draft 1.2. And at number 1, you have the Jaguars selecting edge Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan.
Today in the league, they really need 2 edge rushers.
So you're pairing him up with Josh Allen, and I think this is consistent. We're seeing
with everybody.
Yeah, we're seeing Aiden Hutchinson as a consensus pick. So moving on to pick number 2, the Lions. You have them selecting edge Trayvon Walker out of Georgia. Some might say a riser in this draft class.
Yes, some people would say that. He's really a do-it-all type of player. You can play him all around the field.
Yeah, amazing rush from the interior defensive line when he played there at Georgia. Was on the edge, and he even dropped into coverage. So great selection there for the Lions, who do not need offensive tackle at this point.
Or a quarterback.
Yeah, you think that they're going to prioritize an edge, adding to that defense over a quarterback. So at number 3, Texans selecting offensive tackle Evan Neal out of Alabama.
The reason why I have Evan Neal going here is number 1 offensive tackle, and kind of building around that new quarterback that they kind of stole in the 3rd round, even though they didn't really have a first round pick.
Right, coming in the round 3 and potentially could have gotten QB1 of this year's class if he would have stayed in school with last year's round 3 pick.
Yes.
At number 4, Jets offensive tackle Ikem Ekwonu out of NC State.
Kind of also with the same energy here, building around Zach Wilson.
Yeah, good choice there. Giants, staying with the theme, helping out Daniel Jones with offensive tackle Charles Cross.
Fourth year quarterback.
Yeah, fourth-year quarterback. So this is
make it or break it.
Yeah. So he gets a little bit of help on that offensive line with Charles Cross. Panthers, you have selecting quarterback Kenny Pickett out of Pitt.
I think the Panthers get a little desperate at quarterback and their head coach.
Yeah, with Matt Rule being on the hot seat, pick the most ready
quarterback in this draft.
See if he can improve that position and start ahead of Sam Darnold.
Yes.
At number 7, the Giants are back on the clock, and this time you have them switching sides of the football, going with edge Jermaine Johnson, Florida State.
It's also just a balance. They have 2 picks in the first round, so it's kind of like a balance. Offense first and then defense.
And investing in the trenches, protecting the quarterback on one side and getting after the quarterback on the other. Makes sense? Here is the Falcons at number 8 selecting safety Kyle Hamilton.
Some people have him falling down the board.
Yep.
He's the only safety really in this class.
At the top of the class, right?
At the top.
Yeah, it's a good... Falcons need a lot. Adding Kyle Hamilton surely couldn't hurt. Maybe, maybe they look quarterback. Maybe they try to build
back
the team
up into the first round, grab a quarterback.
That's a definite possibility towards the end. At number 9, Seahawks selecting cornerback Ahmed Gardner, better known as Sauce Gardner, out of Cincinnati.
Best corner in the draft.
Is that what you're going with?
Yes.
With his length and coverage abilities, that seems spot on. At number 10, you have the Jets selecting edge Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon.
Yes, I think he's kind of also falling down the board. Right. I don't know why exactly, but he is a great pick here.
If Kayvon Thibodeau slides down to number 10,
what a steal.
He will be a great addition to the New York Jets. Moving on to pick number 11, Commanders go back to select the second cornerback off the board here, Andrew Booth Jr. out of Clemson.
I thought of giving them a new owner.
Unfortunately, in the NFL draft, you can't do that.
So, also, I heard a rumor after I did my mock that they might be looking quarterback in the second round or something.
Taking a look at Carson Strong.
PTF, Pro Football Talk, made a joke, said, either the Commanders are going to quarter the market on people called Carson, or there might be fire.
Where there's some smoke, there might be some fire.
Yes.
All right. Moving on, the Vikings, they go ahead and select another cornerback here, Derek Stingley Jr. out of LSU. Derek Stingley once thought, top of the class, sliding here, but this seems to be the floor for Stingley. Is he doesn't seem to get past the Vikings too often.
Yes. Now, if he slides down to 17, well,
that's a whole different story. Yeah, Texans back on the clock here at number 13 after their trade with the Cleveland Browns.
You have them, Watson.
Yeah, you have them selecting wide receiver Drake London out of USC.
Again, it's kind of building around that third round steal.
Yeah, so if you give Davis Mills a tackle and a wide receiver in this first round, you definitely help him out, and they can only get better at that point.
I mean, they could also use a new owner, but
At number 14, you have the Ravens selecting edge George Karlaftis out of Purdue.
I really don't know about the Ravens' defense, so I was kind of just.
I saw George Karlaftis early to the Ravens. In the draft process, he seems to be, one of the fallers, but it makes sense. They value edges, and maybe they like
Karlaftis.
yeah. At number 15, Eagles are on the clock, and they go after a wide receiver, Jamison Williams, Alabama. This would make it 3 years in a row that the Eagles would select a wide receiver in the first round.
I mean, would you do it with Jamison Williams?
I think whoever decides to take Jamison Williams
Will get a good player.
Like Kayvon Thibodeau, they will have a good player for a long time. At number 16, the Saints go quarterback Malik Willis out of Liberty. Unfortunately, he doesn't fall all the way to the Steelers, but
Yes.
good pickup for the Saints here.
They signed a quarterback, but I don't think that's a long-term starter.
Right. So these are the players that you have coming off the board before the Chargers selected pick 17. I think Jamison Williams, Derek Stingley Jr., the corners, those are potentially players that the Chargers would have interest in. But you went.
Well, we know with Derek Stingley's pro day.
Right. But at number 17, you went ahead and you gave them offensive tackle Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa.
So that's the only big flashing lights. We need something here.
This is something you've always seen. One question that I did want to ask you. If you got a call from Jerry Jones, if you're Tom Telesco and you got a call from Jerry Jones and he said, "Hey, I want to trade pick number 24 and pick number 56 for your 17 and 79," would you want to take Trevor Penning at that point, or would you look to move down 7 spots to 24?
I would like just to give Justin Herbert protection.
So you stick at 17 and grab the offensive tackle.
Yes.
To protect Justin Herbert. Okay, sounds good.
Because that's our franchise quarterback no matter what.
Yep, makes sense.
I mean, he's shown throughout his 2 years that he should have probably went number 1 if we tried to redraft, but
Well, I mean that's 2 years ago. Let's stick to this round 1 here, and moving on at number 18, you have the Eagles who took wide receiver Jamison Williams at 15. This time they go to the defensive side of the ball, select cornerback Trent McDuffie, Washington.
again, just balancing it out.
Yeah. At number 19, the Saints, they took quarterback Malik Willis, and this time you have the Saints giving him a weapon in wide receiver Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State.
Yes, there's 2 Ohio State players that are really good wide receivers this draft. So no matter what player they get, it will be a good pick.
Yeah, and the Saints definitely could add to that wide receiver room. At number 20, the Steelers go quarterback here with Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati.
Yes, you need a quarterback.
It's a very popular pick here for the Steelers lately. Them taking Desmond Ridder. So let's see what happens. At 21, the Patriots go ahead and take interior offensive line Zion Johnson out of Boston College. This is one of the players that, if the Chargers were to move down to pick 24, that they might be targeting. So in this scenario, it's probably better that they went ahead and took Trevor Penning at 17 instead of losing out on maybe a Zion Johnson.
Yeah, and the Patriots are a Boston team, so.
Yeah, this would keep Zion Johnson in the Boston area code. At number 22, this was the Packers' compensation for losing Devontae Adams to the Vegas Raiders.
They lost a great wide receiver.
So you have them going wide receiver Chris Olave from Ohio State. So this is that second Ohio State wide receiver here at 22 going to the Packers.
Yes. That wide receiver room at Ohio State was good. Really decent.
Yep.
Really,
All right. Need to get a drink of water there. At number 23, the Cardinals taking quarterback Matt Corral out of Ole Miss. Maybe if he was drafted by the Cardinals, he would never take scrub them from his Instagram, but it seems like Kyler Murray has.
Yeah. I could see a trade going on with the Steelers with anybody that needs a quarterback at this point.
Yep. So let's see.
Because the Cardinals
doesn't look like he's going to get a contract from the Cardinals, and
anytime
that's
soon.
what he wants. All right, Cowboys here on the clock. This is them selecting wide receiver Treylon Burks out of Arkansas.
Well, they lost, or they traded
Amari Cooper. They still have CeeDee Lamb, and yeah, definitely need to add to the wide receiver room. This would be a good pairing of because Burks brings something different than CeeDee Lamb does, for sure.
Yes, he does. They really got messed up with Dak's contract.
Yeah. one of three teams moving on from wide receivers because of quarterback contracts.
Yes.
So that brings us to the Bills, a team that was able to keep their quarterback, sign their quarterback and keep their wide receiver.
And add to the defense. That's amazing.
Yeah, and so here you have them taking interior defensive lineman Jordan Davis out of Georgia.
I mean, Georgia defense was potent.
Elite athlete. Good spot if you're if you're one of the people that believe that Jordan Davis has stamina issues, because the Bills do a great job of rotating their defensive line every game.
The only question is, who's the quarterback coach
in Buffalo?
At Buffalo.
Well, I think Ken Dorsey moved from quarterbacks coach to offensive coordinator, so I'm sure they'll figure it out.
Find someone.
It's a well-ran organization.
Yes,
at number 26, you have the Titans selecting wide receiver Jahan Dotson out of Penn State.
Well, it's just to depth, and it seemed like during the beginning of the offseason, their wide receiver that they really like doesn't really have a contract still.
A.J. Brown. Yeah, and they went ahead and released Julio Jones, but they did make the trade with the Rams and brought in Robert Woods. But They could definitely use a top
Another
end wide
wide
receiver,
receiver.
add to that room.
This wide receiver class is deep.
Yeah, plenty deep. At number 27, you have the Buccaneers going interior offensive line. Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M. I think everybody realized that Ali Marpet retired. I think they may have also lost Alex Kappa.
Yes.
So beefing up that.
Also, we kind of don't like the Buccaneers.
Yeah, so let them take a guard there. At number 28, this is the Packers double dipping at wide receiver in the first round. This would significantly buck all trends for the Packers since they don't really like drafting wide receivers in the first round.
Yes, but
here they double dip.
They really don't really have anyone to throw to. They have a great quarterback, but no one to throw to. The coverage bare.
Yeah, so this is definitely adds to the room. At number 29, Chiefs needing to replace Tyreek Hill. They try to do that. Looking at wide receiver George Pickens out of Georgia.
Again, Georgia, champs. So
they're still on the clock, and then you have them being the second team to go ahead and double dip at wide receiver, and they get George Pickens and Christian Watson here towards the end of the first.
Again, I think the cover needs to be.
It's not the worst thing in the world to give.
The Chiefs need to go to the store and grab some groceries.
Right, and it's not the worst thing in the world to give Patrick Mahomes, two young wide receivers on rookie contracts. You could start a carousel of just moving rookie wide receivers through there, because you're going to always struggle to maybe pay a wide receiver.
Yes.
At 31, the Bengals on the clock. They go ahead and help out their offensive line. They go ahead and take a upside guy here with offensive tackle Bernhard Raymond from Central Michigan. Try to keep Joe Burrow upright.
Yes. They really lucked out with the offensive rookie of the year being
Jamar Chase.
Fell to him at number 5. But I think no one's really going to fall. If someone falls down this far,
yeah,
it would be shocking.
Yeah, and I mean, at 31, you might as well, take a chance on somebody, and I think it's a good pick here. And the final pick in the first round of the 2022 mock draft 1.2, you have the Lions taking quarterback Sam Howell out of North Carolina.
Again, they really need a quarterback.
Yeah, and this helps because you're getting Sam Howell here at 32. He has you have the 5th year option as a first rounder. That's why you take him at 32 and not at 34. And I mean the Lions.
At number 2, you mean?
They select at number 34 in the second round, and so the Jaguars, then the Lions are back on the clock at 34, but that number 34 pick doesn't have a 5th year option.
Yes.
Whereas number 32 does. So that's why quarterback makes good sense here. So
makes really good sense.
Interesting that that David Ajabo fell out of the first round. I didn't see Devontae Wyatt. But outside of those two things, I think this was a great mock draft 1.2.
It's filling needs. It's
and just to re-highlight or highlight, if you will, At pick number 17, you had the Los Angeles Chargers selecting offensive tackle Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa.
Justin Herbert.
And you even hung up the phone when Jerry called to see if you wanted to move back to 24. And
No.
Anybody hanging up on Jerry Jones would be a great thing. So
But
really
they
like
do
that.
have a crypto.
Yeah, now the Cowboys have cryptocurrency. Great. So with that brings us to the end of this episode. Yeah. We will be back on Tuesday. We will go ahead and do your 7-round Chargers mock draft.
Okay.
So we'll probably go ahead and do the picks beforehand. Then do an episode where we have the PowerPoint like this. So if you made it this far, thank you for listening in to the podcast or following on YouTube.
Next Saturday is our
next Saturday we have
our friend
of the pod call in, and but with that, thank you so much. Please follow us at Twitter at LAC Outside Zone. Follow the YouTube channel at Chargers Outside Zone. We do have a website, chargersoutsidezone.com.
But it's mostly to get
it's just for
onto
podcast
Apple
uploading. Yeah.
podcast.
And if you want to email the show, feel free, chargersoutsidezone@gmail.com. Who knows if we ever do get it. If we ever do get an email with a question, we'll go ahead and try and answer it if it's a nice question. Yeah.
A decent one.
Yeah.
We might start a mailbag.
Who knows?
Probably
Yeah.
not right now, but still.
All right. So thank you once again for joining. Join us every Tuesday and Saturday for another episode. Have a great Easter weekend.
Have a great Easter weekend.